What is up, everybody? Ninja Nick here with Tactical Gaming, bringing you guys another Marvel Rivals video. In this one, we have a week until Season 8. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. More and more people, I've been watching some YouTube videos this morning, more and more people are on the firm standpoint that I am that we are getting Cyclops next season. Now, he could be either the very first pick, which I hope he is, that'd be awesome, and at the same time, some people believe we might also be getting Devil Dinosaur with Moon Girl, such as like a combination character, kind of like, you know, Cloak and Dagger, which honestly, when thinking about it, makes more sense. I kind of figured they might do a split character to where, like, you know, Devil Dinosaur is his own standalone character, and then you have Moon Girl, who would be her own standalone character, and then they'd have like a team up thing. But now that I really honestly think about it, it kind of makes sense to where, like, you know, Devil Dinosaur would be the Vanguard, right? And then she would be a healer. Now, I have also a funny suspicion for the next 2 seasons, quite literally, because I'm going to show you exactly why I believe this. But, so, within all our character choices that we have right now, right, DPS has the most characters to choose from, okay? So we'll go to Duelist, right? So, Duelist literally has almost 2 full rows each. That's 4 rows of characters to pick from, right? When you look at Vanguard, and then when you look at Strategist, not so much, right? Vanguard has 1 more than Strategist does, but I have a sneaking suspicion the next 2 seasons is going to be either Vanguard and Healer, and then like Healer Vanguard, or like vice versa. The next 2 seasons is basically gonna be that. It's gonna be a Healer and a Vanguard, both seasons, right? Season 8 and 9 are gonna be the Vanguard and Healer seasons to try to kind of, not really, even it out between the Strategists, the Vanguards, and the Duelists. Even though it's not even close. Even though it's not even close, considering literally Vanguards and them barely even have a full set of 2, right? And I mean like 2 rows. So the fact of the matter is there's that big difference. I'm believing that they're either going to do a Vanguard or a Healer, or just a Vanguard Healer and then a Healer Vanguard, or like, you know, vice versa, switch up the like things. But I think that's what they're gonna do. And I believe Cyclops is going to be a Vanguard because it makes more sense, considering, yes, he's the leader of the X-Men, so people would be like, oh, he's going to be a strategist. Okay, explain to me how he's going to heal people. Like what, he's going to laser beam them and then they're going to get healed? That makes so much sense. Now, granted, most people will be like, well, you play as Deadpool. Yeah, I know, but Deadpool's not supposed to make sense anyways. But granted, yeah, you can still use that as an argument, but still no, he's not going to be a healer, even though technically strategists, even though it makes no sense that a strategist would be the one that would also be the one to make the plans for the team, unless they're a good plan maker. I mean, I don't give a shit what role someone plays as, whether they're duelist, Vanguard, or strategist. If they're good at making a plan or has a good plan, boom, they can be the leader of the team. But when it comes to the X-Men and who, you know, Cyclops is, it makes more sense as Cyclops to be a Vanguard than anything else. Now, granted, he'd be more of like a DPS style Vanguard, kind of like how, you know, Thor is, where you can actually dive with Thor, right? So I'm thinking he'd be able to use his beam to kind of like lunge himself up high in the air, right? And then do like a double jump ability where he'd be able to jump after that. So it gives him the availability to go up high places, right? And then shoot his big ass beam, like maybe they'll give him like a beam attack that'll be like an AoE kind of thing, right? And it just shoots down and boom. Now, depending on where he shoots it and everything, now that more likely would be his ultimate, right? not like just a basic attack. Now he might have another one that's kind of like that. That would be an ability that he can shoot down or forward or at any angle in general that he wants. Clearly, because I mean Cyclops. But if you've ever watched the shows, the movies, or the comics, he's always used his beams in multiple different ways, whether it was offensively or defensively. So I can see him more as a Vanguard than a DPS. Now, granted, yes, I can see him as a DPS too, right? I can see him as a duelist too. But with how many duelists we currently have, and the fact that they gave us a duelist this season, and last season, technically we got 2 last season because Deadpool's 3 different roles, but at the same time, he doesn't count. He does not count. But considering we got a duelist, words work. But season 6.5, and then we got her at season 7.5, right? So I'm thinking what they're going to do is they're probably going to do a Vanguard. It's probably going to be Cyclops, because it also makes more sense that Cyclops would be a Vanguard. Why? Because Jean Grey, or technically the Phoenix, is a duelist. And who protects duelists? Vanguards. What does, Cyclops do? He protects the Phoenix, or technically his wife, Jean Grey. So, kind of makes more sense that he would be a Vanguard than an actual duelist. And at the same time, if they're smart, unlike when they did with fucking Spider-Man and Black Cat, because it still makes no sense, and everyone agrees with me that knows. Why give Cat and Black Cat a team up and not Spider-Man and Cat? Come on! So if they don't do some kind of team up for Phoenix and Cyclops, it's gonna make zero sense, because they should. There should be a team up, an X-Men team up, a Phoenix Force team up, something, right? Something. But I am just for sure, 100% sure that we're getting Cyclops. He's gonna be a character, okay? And then at the same time, it would be kind of cool if the second character we got, right, in let's say season 8.5, would be Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, right? To the point to where technically it's a dual character, because they can switch between being a Vanguard. So we got a Vanguard, so technically now we got 2 new Vanguards, and then we also got a healer out of Moon Girl. So you play as Moon Girl, you're able to use your little ray gun and whatnot, or her other technology that she can invent as means to heal people. And then switch to Devil Dinosaur to do the Vanguard stuff. Boom. That would be an awesome character, considering we do have Cloak and Dagger, who basically is kind of like that. They're basically a dual character, right? When you switch between them, that's what they are. Now granted, they're still technically a healer. It's just more of when you go to, Cloak? I've never played as them, so I can't tell. But one of them does more damage than the other. The other one actually does more healing than the other. I think this is the healer. But either way, be more like a Cloak and Dagger character, where it's basically 2 characters in one. Be very interesting, and at the same time, it would help out the strategists and the Vanguards from losing their shit like they keep going, because it's funny as all hell, because if you're in the community, there's a lot of people saying that I'm quitting no longer being a tank, because we only have so many tanks we can play as, and I'm always a solo tank, yada yada yada. And usually the funny thing is, most of the time it's always a tank main that's saying this, which is hilarious to me, because it's you literally are a tank main and you're complaining about being a tank. Then why do you tank main? What? so it makes no sense to me. It's one thing if you play all 3 characters and then you're stuck playing one role because no one wants to play that one role, and you need at least one of those characters, right? And I mean, I've technically played as all of these characters now, except for Hulk. I need to play as Hulk, just try him out. But I played as all these characters. Don't mind any of them, but I do feel like we need some more Vanguards. Okay? So that's kind of my predictions and what I'm now starting to think, considering a lot of these other YouTubers and everything who do much more deeper dives and go into the gallery cards and everything and like kind of look at them and kind of like show you and everything. And I'll show you one of them that kind of makes more sense also, to where like we would be getting Scott, because like there's his glasses. We have a plushie of the Devil Dinosaur there. I mean, you just see the Devil Dinosaur. Not only that, in the last season's gallery card, which I think is this one. Yep. Right. You have Deadpool saving everybody, freeing all the monsters and whatnot. Deadpool being Deadpool, like always. We have this going on, which was awesome. Loved that event. That was cool. And then boom, here's Devil Dinosaur right there. You also have Cosmo, which everyone's assuming this is Cosmo. I'm pretty sure it is. And then you have Deadpool Beetle, or whatever the hell bug that is, right? But yeah, so a lot of the people are assuming that you're going to be getting Devil Dinosaur. Now, the reason why I'm also assuming we're getting Devil Dinosaur and we're getting Scott Summers, or technically Cyclops, is because of like the positioning in the last and final gallery card. And what I'm thinking is, so here you go, we have a white fox and a black cat. Who did we get this season in season 7 and 7.5? We got white fox and black cat. Now I'm thinking, right, that the way this is going to go, so we're going to go back to this one. And then we're going to go all... Oh, never mind. I don't have to. Sweet. Stays on the last one. So we might... So it might go in order from top to bottom or bottom to top. So depending, we might get Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl first. Right? Which will lead to like, oh, hey, maybe Devil Dinosaur, because he's a dinosaur, maybe he can smell like Scott Summers, or like... So something's going to go into where like, someone hears or finds out about Scott, and then we get Scott. Or, because also there's this character over here, because if you read the gallery card, right, it talks about how she senses someone who has the same thought patterns as Rogue, right? Now, Rogue, at one point in time in the comics, now this is the Rivals comics, now I'm not saying this is who it is, but this could be Captain Marvel. So... maybe this might be the very first time we get 3 characters in one. Maybe we're going to get Devil Dinosaur. We're going to get Scott Summers / Cyclops. And we're going to get, Captain Marvel, right? Or we're getting Captain Marvel and Devil Dinosaur. And that's going to lead into, like, Season 9, right? To where we get Scott Summers. And I'm thinking this might be where they do 2 Vanguards, because making Captain Marvel anything but a Vanguard makes no sense to me, just for the simple fact of the matter of how powerful that woman is. Like she should definitely be a Vanguard. So, and of course, Giant Dinosaur makes more sense for a Giant Dinosaur also to be a Vanguard, and not like some crazy DPS or a healer dinosaur, right? So... Tank, right? That's also if this is who like people are assuming it is, and it's Captain Marvel. But the final gallery card of every season, right, has always shown you who's going to be the next character, right? Well, not this one actually. This is different, but this is from Blood Hunt. I have not gotten all of them yet, I don't think. But this was actually no, I did. Blood Hunt was fun. Here's Path of the Avengers. Now, sadly, I didn't actually finish all of these. I didn't do most of these, but what I've noticed from what other people have like talked about and shown is the final gallery card in the season is always the one that shows you who you're probably getting in the next season. And the one you see in this one definitely kind of hints at like 3 possible characters. And or what if we are getting 3 characters? Because at the same time, like I was showing with this one, you had Devil Dinosaur. We didn't get him this time, right? But what if we do get him this coming season, and we also get, like, Scott Summers, or maybe we get Captain Marvel, and maybe Captain Marvel knows something on where Scott is, and or she's seen Scott or whatever, which then leads them to go on to this mission to find him, and then, like, her and the Phoenix / Jean Grey go to find him, and boom, season 9 starts, we get Cyclops. Yeah, man. Could be something along those lines. You never know. But that's what I'm thinking is going to end up happening here soon within the week when the next season starts. I'm thinking it's going to be something along those lines. Those are the possibilities I'm thinking. And when it comes to the character basis, that's what I'm also thinking when it comes to, like, what they're going to be, the role they're going to play, and all that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you guys go check out w.gg and use my code TacticalGaming90 for 10% off. Catch me for the next one. Later, guys.